It actually feels super good to have the official reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2 that Nintendo finally dropped recently. The trailers out there and the stats on there are crazy. We're going to go over that. You guys definitely want to check out what's happening there. But I wanted to go over the first actual Nintendo Switch 2 news video that I'm dropping on some interesting topics overall and some information that you might have missed if you weren't paying attention to a few different things or on all different parts of the internet. But before we get into that, what's good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my Nintendo Switch 2 updates, live streams, vids, and more first. We're going to be dropping a lot of content leading up to the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, so you're definitely going to want to be subscribed to the channel. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the first topic here, and I thought this one was hilarious. That's the reason why I wanted to talk about it first, and that's how Hideki Kamiya has absolutely went nuts at the leakers for the Nintendo Switch 2. So shoutouts to Culture Crave on Twitter because Hideki Kamiya has me blocked. I never interacted with him, but he has me blocked. And he said that Okami creator Hideki Kamiya calls out the Ishii leakers over the Nintendo Switch 2. Quote, "I hope all of the people who leaked Switch 2 information and those who helped leak it will be cursed for the rest of their lives to always have poop on the soles of their shoes when they get home. The worst of scum. They should be covered in ish from head to toe and thrown out of the atmosphere and then stop thinking and wander forever. They need to be crushed as soon as possible." I mean, bro, I understand, having leakers is definitely not good, and I think that there's definitely some comedic value to this. I don't think he's actually serious about that, but then again, with Kamiya, I mean, you just don't know. He might be really serious about this. I don't know. The interesting interaction that I had with him is that I used to talk about the Wonderful 101 and how much I like the games, and then he blocked me, and then I asked one of my friends to say, hey, can you ask Kamiya to unblock me? He unblocked me, and I realized, okay, I'm not gonna tag him or tweet at him, and then all of a sudden I was just blocked. I didn't even do anything. So oh man, Kamiya is known for blocking people, but yeah, man, I agree that people that put out official, the actual leaked stuff and all of that, yeah, that's not cool. I don't think I would ever officially leak and show pictures and all of that and kind of ruin that. But you know, Kamiya is talking to people kind of like myself who I guess I helped. I don't know if he means helped in terms of giving the person the leaks, or I don't know if he means the people that spread the word. So I'm not sure if he's talking about me. Now I'm even questioning this whole segment in terms of, is he even talking about me? I don't think he is, but I think he might be thinking about the people who facilitate and help them, and then the people who also just do it. So the people who actually show it and the people who facilitate the leaks as well. So I think that might be it, but either way, yeah, he seems pretty upset, and obviously this is passionate. I think that there is a greater and bigger story to this. The fact that he is so passionate about this, the fact that he had something to say, just shows that they are going to be big supporters of the Nintendo Switch 2. Okami too, yeah, it's absolutely coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 because he has a vested interest in the success of this system and what it's going to do. Obviously, Hideki Kamiya has been tied to Nintendo hardware for quite some time with Platinum Games. They did a lot of titles on the Nintendo Switch and on the Wii U with Bayonetta 2, Bayonetta 3, Astral Chain, the Wonderful 101 Remastered, and more. So yeah, I could expect him to be, I would say, emotionally attached to this. But this is what I want to see. That passion and that fire for the game industry and for what's going on, that's cool, man. I 100% get that. Now, I think it's a little bit excessive in terms of what he's saying should happen to people. I don't think people should get hurt like that. And if that was even possible for people to have stuff like that happen to them, I don't think it should happen. But I do think that there's a little bit of hyperbole here as well. So maybe it's just that. But either way, I think this does lead, if we're going to take any positive out of this, this does lead to probably Okami 2 being on the Nintendo Switch 2. So that's definitely a good thing. Thumbs up there for Mr. Hideki Kamiya. Now let's move on to the next topic here, guys, because I wanted to discuss what is going down with the Nintendo Switch 2 and the April Nintendo Direct. Now we have a confirmation of the Nintendo Switch 2 April Direct. It is April 2nd. The time is not known at this point, but Nintendo will detail that later. People are asking about if there's going to be another Nintendo Direct potentially in February. I would say don't sleep on that. Nate the Hate also said in his recent Nintendo Predictions podcast that Nintendo still has software for the Nintendo Switch 1 to detail. So in February, we might get a Nintendo Direct that shows off stuff like Pokemon Legends ZA or talks about it a little bit. We could get more Metroid Prime 4 information. We still have the Kirby Planet Robobot port that Nate the Hate talked about as well. There's still Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Maybe we get the first details on the Fire Emblem 4 remake that's been rumored for quite some time. So there are still Nintendo Switch 1 games to go over, and potentially Nintendo says, hey, these games will also work on the Nintendo Switch 2. But let's talk a little bit more about this April 2nd Nintendo Direct for the Nintendo Switch 2. What can you expect for it? Well, I would say it's set up very much like the Nintendo Switch 1. If you remember, back when the Nintendo Switch 1 was first revealed, or more like I would say the first look at it, that was October. Then a few months later, we got the January presentation. And then a few months later, we got the launch. Nintendo is following almost the exact same timeline here, with a January reveal for this one, and then a few months later, a big presentation. Then probably a couple months later, we'll have the launch in June. So I am predicting a June launch for the Nintendo Switch 2. But this April Direct is going to show off what some people were upset with when it comes to the Nintendo Switch reveal trailer. And that's, where are the other games at? And I think that, yeah, at this Nintendo Direct for April, we're going to get a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 games. We already know about the new Mario Kart game that's coming. That's bumped up the racer count to 24. The draw distance is much bigger. They've redesigned Donkey Kong. They got redesigns on all of the karts, new models, and everything. So it's definitely a ground up Mario Kart game for the Nintendo Switch 2. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just called Mario Kart 9, but we'll see if they have some type of subtitle for it or something, and what other features and stuff it comes with. So I'm probably thinking that we're going to get a full breakdown on Mario Kart 9 at this upcoming April Nintendo Direct for the Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, we will have the price. I think pre-orders will go live. They'll detail the OS and online system. All of that stuff was also done a little bit to some degrees or not with the Nintendo Switch 1, where they showed off a ton of different things there. They talked about the price, they talked about the Nintendo Switch Online, they talked about the release date, and all of that. So I think we're going to get all of that information there, so don't worry. If you're looking to pre-order and all of that, that will probably be revealed April 2nd. Now, the games, that's also going to be something that I think that they're going to follow closely to what they did with the Nintendo Switch 1. When the Nintendo Switch 1 presentation was shown in January, we got a number of first and third party games revealed. Stuff like ARMS, Splatoon 2, in addition to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Super Mario Odyssey, 1-2 Switch. There was a lot of stuff there, and I'm expecting there to be a number of first-party games as well. Maybe we get the first look at Monolith Soft's new title. Nintendo always wants to make sure that we get big new Monolith Soft looks first with a system, especially with Monolith Soft, them being one of the, I would say, most talented studios at taking advantage of the hardware. What they can do with the bump up in specs with the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be incredible. So I do think that Monolith Soft's new title could be shown there. I think that would be really good. I think that we could see some ports or updates when it comes to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, that running at 4K or higher resolution and 60 frames per second. Tears of the Kingdom as well. They might show off some Switch 1 games enhanced, but when it comes to other type of titles, I still think that we could see something from Fire Emblem as well. What's going on with that game? I know Fire Emblem 4 Remake, there's that, but we could see what's going on with the next Fire Emblem. The next major 3D Mario is absolutely going to be there, or it's going to be hinted, or there's going to be something very similar to Nintendo Switch 1 with Super Mario Odyssey. Nintendo had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It wasn't a big focus at that event, but they did show it off in like the highlight reel trailer and all of that. But I do expect there to be a big brand new 3D Mario game. People are asking about if it's going to be a sequel to Sunshine, or if it's going to be a Mario 64 2, or it's going to be a Super Mario Odyssey 2, but I'm here to tell you guys, it's probably going to be none of those. Now, I could be wrong, but what I think it's going to be a brand new Mario with a brand new concept and a brand new gameplay structure. When it comes to new Nintendo systems, Nintendo loves to make sure that they take advantage of something completely different for 3D Mario games. if we get sequels to a 3D Mario game, it's usually shortly after the first game comes out. So for example, Super Mario Galaxy, that was 2007, Super Mario Galaxy 2, that was 2010, or Super Mario 3D Land, that was 2011, Super Mario 3D World, that was 2013. So usually if we get something when it comes to 3D Mario, and if it's a sequel, it's going to be right after. So if they were going to do Super Mario Odyssey 2, that probably would have been sometime in like 2020 or 2021 or something like that. They wouldn't wait this long to say, all right, here's a sequel to Super Mario Odyssey. That's already been there, done that. They're going to move on to the next thing with the next big concept. I am anticipating that we see some of the Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. If you played that Bowser's Fury part, that was an open-ended 3D Mario experience to where you can go and do levels as you please without jumping into a painting or jumping into something and starting off some type of level first and foremost or blasting off to somewhere. So maybe we could expect a full, true 3D open world Mario game that lets you seamlessly go into levels and explore and platform and adventure when you feel like it. So I think that could be the next concept. And of course, it's going to have its own theme or something like that. So we'll see what they do there. But hey, you never know. Maybe they do a sequel to something else, but I'm guessing it's going to be a brand new concept 3D game. Now, I don't think we're going to see Super Smash Brothers or Animal Crossing here. I think we can get some glimpses of some things, but I don't think we're going to see that. There are probably going to be more first-party titles out there, but it's kind of hard to predict based off of Nintendo's teams what they're going to do or how it's going to happen at this point. But yeah, I would definitely expect something from Monolith Soft. I'd expect a 3D Mario game. I would expect maybe something from other partners out there when it comes to Square Enix. We could see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Remake. We could see Resident Evil shown off. At the last Nintendo Switch Direct for the Nintendo Switch 1, we were able to see like, hey, No More Heroes is coming to the system. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is coming to the system. Octopath Traveler is coming, brand new IP. So yeah, I would expect some RPG partners to be there in addition to some Western stuff as well. We got stuff like FIFA and Skyrim that was also at the event. So expect some of the casual in addition to some of the big third-party AAA from the Western studios to show up as well. So there's going to be a lot more third-party support on this system than what we saw at first when it comes to Nintendo Switch 1. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here, and let's discuss the scalping situation that Nintendo is trying to make sure that they squash right now, because Bloomberg has a brand new article where they are talking about how Nintendo is aiming to have 20 million plus Nintendo Switches in the first year. Shout outs to My Nintendo News, they had the beat on this one, and they stated that the gaming world is slowly beginning to digest Nintendo's first ever look at their next console, the Nintendo Switch 2. That said, one lingering thing that some gamers have been worried about is how easy it will be to purchase one. It hasn't helped matters that the supply chain issues that plagued consoles like the PlayStation 5 years ago is still fresh on people's mind. Fortunately, a new Bloomberg report suggests that Nintendo is very aware about it. According to Bloomberg, Nintendo has prepared a supply chain network that will allow the company to sell more than 20 million Nintendo Switch 2 units in its first year. While it isn't a massive jump compared to its predecessor, it may help deter scalpers. The Switch 2 is slated to launch later this year, which I do think that the Switch 2 will be launching sometime in June. So let's talk about that, because the Nintendo Switch 1 was a huge, massive success, more than what Nintendo thought it would be at the beginning, considering off the shipments from what they had with the Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U. So they definitely shipped almost or right around there, so it's not way bigger, but it is definitely bigger at this point. Now, Nintendo has also stated this to investors and said, hey, look, we're looking at different ways that we can go after scalpers legally. I think this might be the first time, or one of the first times, that people, when it comes to fans, actually want Nintendo to flex their legal muscle overall, and their lawyers and the Nintendo ninjas. But yeah, it looks like they could go after people that are putting up eBay listings and things like that and saying, hey, you can't do that, or going to eBay and asking them to take some of those listings down and all of that. And if they have more systems, then yeah, that can definitely help. But I do think that it's going to definitely be on the partners for Nintendo. So retailers like Best Buy and Walmart and Target, they've got to get their systems ready to go. Best Buy has a pretty good anti-scalping type of thing to where you have to kind of get into a queue and wait for a while, and it checks and it checks and it checks. And I'm pretty sure that there's ways to bust that, but I don't think it's as easy as it is with other places. So Walmart, Target, and other places have to get ready and gear up for that. If they do that, then I think that we can have a pretty clean launch where there's not going to be a bunch of scalper bots. Now remember, this is very different from someone saying, hey, they went out there and they purchased 2 systems and they got there and they got 2 and they want to sell one, like that's one thing. But the problem is the bots. Like if somebody is able to be fast enough to get 2 or 3 systems, okay, that's one thing. But if somebody has some type of crazy bot machine where they're buying up like 100 systems, like we saw with the PlayStation 5 and we saw with the Xbox Series, where they can at a click of a button all of a sudden have all the systems in their inventory shipped to their house, I think that's the problem. I think that's what Nintendo's actually trying to stop, and that's what the retailers want to stop as well, because it hurts the consumers. Because think about it, if you can't buy one and it's all going to scalping, then obviously you're not going to be able to get as many games. So it also hurts Nintendo and all that, because they want people that are actually going to buy games. But if there are a bunch of scalp systems waiting to be sold, then people aren't buying games right away, or people might spend more and not have the money for games. So when it comes to all of that, I know Nintendo wants to be on top of it. So they've talked about it to investors about legally going after things and procuring more units so this doesn't happen. So we'll see how it actually works. There's going to be scalpers out there. There's going to be people trying to flare up the bots and all that. It's going to be a hyped launch. It's a sequel to one of the best-selling systems of all time. So I expect there to be some issues, but I do think that things will probably be handled a bit smoother this time than what we got with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, considering those launched in the COVID year when there was a chip shortage as well. So not only was there COVID and problems just with overall when it comes to the health and safety of people going out there in the world, but then there was also issues when it comes to the shortage and the supply and people working and all of that. I think now in 2025, it's a bit better. So I think that there should be a lot of solutions to the problems that we saw 5 years ago, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But this is definitely good to hear, at least starting out. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG videos and more right here on screen. And if you want to check out my full review for the Nintendo Switch 2 trailer, it's right here on screen as well. All right, guys, we'll see you for the next one. Peace.